Hey y'all, hey, we are back for another episode of Sisters. We're on season 8, episode 17, entitled, I forgot to write it down, so oops. Anyway, Hudson is at the hospital as Gary is trying to break out of his restraints, and he tells Gary that it was his idea to restrain him and jerk him up in the first place. It was for his own good. And then you see Gary having a flashback of Hudson updating Penelope's life insurance, accessing her accounts, and pretty much all the other schemes that Hudson has been doing in conspiracy with Gary to ruin Penelope's life, right? And in this moment, I take it back. I don't know. I think that he may have had the amnesia temporarily, but you know, amnesia is not in totality in some cases. Like stress-induced, trauma-induced, those type of things can bring on those type of stresses on the brain. And then as you get better, you can get your memories back, blah, blah, blah. So I think with these little flashes, he did have a little bit of memory loss. I'll give him that. But we'll also see about the, within this episode that he still got a little bit of that conniving Gary that's still deeply implanted in his cerebral cortex. So I don't feel bad for him anyway. All right, and so Gary wants to know where Andy is. She's the only person I can trust. Where's Andy? Where's Andy? Where's Andy? And of course, Hudson, I don't know who hates Andy more, whether it's Hudson or whether it's Rich, but they are running a tie. Either way, Hudson tells him that she's poison and to forget about her, and that he's now there to help him, and he will never betray him as much as Andy has betrayed him, and he just hates Andy's guts. But Hudson is also a weirdo. Remember episodes ago, he was on the phone talking to somebody very sneakily before he got Gary restrained and drugged up. He called somebody. He was like, "Yeah, we have an issue." Now, that could be Robin. I don't know. I don't know who he's calling. I don't know how Hudson and Robin know each other or what their connection is going to be. Hopefully, we find out before the season is over so we can stop talking about this. But that's where we at. Either way, we see some decrepit old white woman coming to the bank with a massive jar of loose pennies. It ain't even no silver money in there. It's all pennies. And she's demanding that they exchange the pennies for money so that she can go on her upcoming trip to the casino with her church friends. That's a conflict of interest, right? You and your church friends going to the casino to gamble? Ain't that a sin to you Bible thumpers? Okay then. Anyway, Maurice tells her like, "Hey, the coin exchange option is only for members. Do you have an account with us?" And she's like, "Nope, I ain't no member." Okay, well the conversation should be over. You're not a member. You can't use the services. Goodbye. But she goes on and on and on. "Oh, are you going to give me trouble? Are you going to be extra? You know, your kind is always extra, always putting on a show. Basically just being real homophobic or whatever against Maurice because he won't do what she desires. You know, typical old white woman type crap." And she's like, "Yeah, because your kind is always problematic, essentially." And I was thinking, like, which kind? Specify your kind. And she said nothing about the hue. She said nothing about the melanin. But what she did say is, the LGBTQ people, and you always shoving your propaganda and your agenda down our throats. And here you go again, being a problem, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm not even going to get on the soapbox about that because I don't want to argue with y'all about it. But, girl, shut the hell up. Either way, during all of this, we see Miss Page step up and she ends up standing up for Maurice and tells the lady like, "We don't service people that are homophobic here anyway. I could open you an account and we can get this taken care of for you, but I'm not going to do it. Go ahead and get your change and head out for me." And so the lady is, she's like, "All right, whatever." And so me and Maurice was shocked. We were like, "Okay, Miss Page, you might be all right with me." And she tells him like, "Hey, my brother is gay. My brother's a part of the community, and I was a part of some kind of gay alliance group in high school." Beats me. Either way, of all the things she is, he's just very glad that she's not homophobic. Yes, she's worrisome. Yes, she's a tattletale. Yes, she aggravating as hell. Don't mind her business. But at least she ain't homophobic. So we just take the wins where we can take them. And they might be turning a corner, and they might be on better terms. We'll see. All right, so Hayden and Tamara they're trying to get down to grown folks' business, and they get into the role playing, and he demands and put his hands around her throat, and demands that she calls him Gary, and she is like, what's wrong with you? She gets real freaked out and real creeped out about it. And she tells him, like, I thought we talked about this and we apologized. You said you were over it. I said I was over it and we were going to try to work the thing out. He was like, yeah, I understand, but you know, what do you see in the scumbag? This, blah, blah, blah. He is obsessed with the fact that she was with Gary and he doesn't measure up to Gary in his own mind. And so that's just going to drive him crazy. And so he's like, listen, I just can't get over it. Every time I close my eyes, I see you with dude. And she's like, all right, cool, that's fine and that's understandable. But you can either accept that we've decided to move on, or we can end whatever this is that we got going on. Like, call time of death on this relationship, because I can't keep doing this back and forth with you. So, child, he's still upset about that. But by the end of the episode, we'll see, like, that anger is probably going to spill over. But whatever. All right, so we see Andy she's on the phone and she's getting to work. Like, Miss Willis told her, like, girl, you better earn your rightful spot back at that law firm or I'm going to take you down in the process. So we see her on the phone and she's talking to, like, her clients, partners at the firm and other people, just confirming their allegiances, just to remind them of what she brings to the firm and how much of an asset she truly is, everything she's done for the clients. Just letting them know, like, hey, I'm supposed to be here. Like, I rightfully earn my place. And I'm coming back to get what's mine. And so while trying to handle that business, Jordan calls her. He wants to set up a meeting and a time for them to talk. And she was like, for what? Like, so you can set me up so your sister can put her hands on me? No. And she was like, we'll meet at a neutral location. So they agree to go to a late lunch at Billy Jean's or Billy Jack's or Billy, whoever the hell he is. It's a restaurant. Of course, this is the same restaurant that Penelope and Robin are having lunch at as well to talk about her case, and so that'll come back. So Penelope and Robin are talking about, well, she insists on knowing how Robin and Andy ended up breaking up, and he tells her, like, hey, yes, it was Gary, you know, Gary happened, and he doesn't appear to be upset about it or anything. He doesn't appear to have any animosity about how it ended. But what he is sure of, because Penelope is like, oh, here you go too. You got caught up in Gary and Penelope's scheme to bring people into the fold just to ruin their lives. And he was like, yeah, now Gary, I'll give you that. I'll give you that Gary is that type of person. But Andy, what I can assure you of is that Andy is not that kind of person. And she didn't have those type of ill intentions for you or me. And Robin also reminds her, like, hey, didn't Andy warn you about Gary on multiple occasions? Like, wasn't that her idea? And Penelope's like, okay, like, whatever. That was a grand scheme to get Gary out of herself. And she was like, and he's, you know, just making the counters to, like, how that doesn't make any sense. But Penelope is more mad about the fact that Andy has the power to get these, let's quote unquote, high value, hate to use the term, but high value men wrapped around her finger and to believe everything she says. And it never comes across her mind that maybe Andy is truly innocent, naive, I ain't gonna say bystander, because, like, like Miss Willis told her, like, you're not an innocent bystander. Like, you be in the passenger seat when your life be going off track. But, and I hate to call her a victim, I call her a little bit more gullible than the average bear. So she's a little bit more gullible in her decision-making processes outside of business. So she has to live with those results. But to say that she's calculated and conniving and as devious as Gary, I can't believe it. All right. Zach and Fatima are thinking about getting the blackmail video that Tamara showed Hayden that Zach overheard Hayden talking about. They want to give that over to Agent Watts so that they can put him on their trail and get him off their asses. So that gives them somebody else to take the fall, because he's on this thing and somebody's going to take this rap. Don't matter who it is, whoever I can come up with the strongest case against, essentially. And so they plan to point the finger. They plan to talk to Hayden and Tamara to kind of break their allegiance and to get them to point the finger at each other. And so that's the route that these two are going to take. Plausible plan. You're still barking up the wrong tree, but we'll go with it. All right. Danny confronts Lenny at work about filing a complaint against her and Tony because now they're under investigation. And he tells her, like, hey, somebody had to do it. Like, he tried to deny it at first, but he couldn't do it. He had to gloat about it. And he thinks that he should have had the internship based off merit and not laying on his back like Danny did to get into the internship program. He is the bigger, better, more capable. He's the baddest bitch for the job. And he feels like he should have got it. He's the first to get there and he's the last to leave. He works the hardest. He brings donuts for the company. Like, just all these things, all these kiss-assery things that he does that thinks he should have earned the position in the internship, of which don't amount to a hill of beans if your actual job ain't getting done. But whatever, I digress. It sounds very much, sounds a lot like what's happening in the world as far as, oh, shoot, I'm the better guy for the option. You know, don't meet these ethnic quotas, or, you know, don't give it to the best qualified person that don't look like me. Hire me because I look like you. Type of rhetoric that is happening. Again, soapbox put away. I won't get on that. We're not going to talk about it in the comments. A lot of things I tell you guys to talk about in the comments. This won't be one of them because you won't piss me off today. Okay? All right. Moving right along. We have a new character, and her name is Nurse Erica. Nurse Erica appeared. This might be her first week on the job. She is very timid, very giggly, very unprofessional by the end of this scene. Either way, she goes in to check on Gary, and he is putting a charm on her, telling her, like, hey, I'm uncomfortable, and, you know, I could sleep better, I could rest better if we loosen these restraints, if you could just help me out. And then he asked her, you know, what you heard about me, you know, on the nurse's floor. What did you hear about me floating around in the hospital? And she's like, you know, that's unprofessional. He's like, no, you know, tell me what you heard. I know you heard something. And she's like, she heard that he's a rich businessman that got stabbed at his wedding, and, you know, there's an investigation, blah, 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 blah. Somehow they're sitting there talking, and she ends up mentioning her student loans, and he knows, like, hey, this is my way in to get what I want. And so he asked her, like, hey, what do you think if I could pay off all of your student loans today? Like, today, all your student loans will be wiped away for one little tiny favor that you could do for me in exchange. And she's just looking like, tell me more, tell me more. And, you know, she has managed to go grab all of Gary's personal effects, you know, minus his shirt because it got blood and bullet holes and stab wounds and everything in it, right? And she's helped him out of the restraints, and he claims that, hey, I'm going to make good on my promise, even though I doubt that he ever will. Once he gets out of that hospital, Nurse Erica, you're on your own, my girl. And he is immediately back to using people and cunning and conniving, and she gives him his phone and his iPad and all the things, and he's like, yeah, I still got it. So he knows that he's still able to pull at the emotional heartstrings of women to get what he desires, which, you know, the amnesia, it may still partially be there, but, you know, that piece of crap that is Gary's soul and spirit is still in there. So, yeah, so he's sitting there thinking, like, who's going to be an ally? Who's going to be able to help me? He knows that Hudson's probably not that guy. And so he's thinking, hey, Hayden's still my friend, right? I think that guy's my friend, and that he should be able to help me. So, you know, that little bit of, I'm not sure who each person is, that little bit of amnesia, still not sure. You know, it's still little remnants of that in there if it actually exists. But in the conversations that he's having alone kind of leads to, okay, all right, maybe it's a little bit in there. Like, he's not really sure that who to trust, but he thinks that Hayden is going to be a good guy. Doubt that you made the right decision, but here we are. Aaron is over there keeping an eye on Karen because her mom has requested that while she's at the shop. Her mom got pissed off that she went to Andy's, like, why you over there worrying about Andy? You should be over here on bed rest. Don't let your friends bullcrap, like, get you and these babies put in a compromising position. Understand that, but Karen reminds her mama, I decided to go. Andy wanted to video call me in, and I decided to go, so it's on me. She's like, okay, cool. You can't do what you need to do, Aaron. Come watch her while I go to the shop and keep things in order. All right, whatever. The salon, whatever you want to call it. All right, so they're just sitting there shooting the crap, small talking, and then she just jumps in and tongues him down, and he's excited, but he's also apprehensive because he's thinking, like, hey, I know you said that you're ready now, or whatever it is that you think you are, but I want you to be sure that you're ready for me because you're ready for me, and not because you've been able to confirm and see that Zach has moved on 100% and that there is no hope in going back there. Like, which is understandable. Girl, don't play me. Don't play me second best. Because I don't have time for that. All right. So we'll deal with that next week. All right, Penelope is getting real cozy up under Robin at the restaurant. And, of course, Andy and Jordan show up at the same restaurant. And we see Penelope kind of putting on extra charm and trying to make Andy jealous, which is not going to work because, girl, who got time? Either way, that is how the episode ends. I think we got one more episode. I think next week is the last episode. We still don't know who did what. Again, I don't want to talk about this in season 9, so I hope we can wrap this up. Either way, let me know what you think about the episode. Let's talk about it in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or whatever it is you feel like doing. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.